Welcome back to New Rockstars, I'm Erik Voss, and Star Wars The Clone Wars is now back in our lives with a 7th season on Disney+. The centerpiece of this season will be the concurrent history of Order 66 from Revenge of the Sith, the Siege of Mandalore, and of course, Maul. Even for regular watchers of the Star Wars animated series, Maul's story is definitely one of the most confusing. Like, he keeps showing up at different points in history, and the dude's gotten more replacement legs than Lieutenant Dan. Here, I'm gonna explain Maul's updated timeline, everything you need to know about the Star Wars character Too Angry to Die. And thanks to privacy.com for sponsoring this episode. If you sign up now at privacy.com/newrockstars, you can get $5 today to use on any purchase online. Okay, we first met Maul in The Phantom Menace.
At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge.
But what revenge was Maul referring to there? Well, that backstory was actually revealed in the Maul comics. Maul was born on Dathomir, a Zabrak male, son to Mother Talzin. Talzin led a group of female dark-side witches called the Night Sisters, and Maul was born alongside two blood brothers, Farrell and Savage Opress. Talzin gave Maul his face tattoos before his first birthday. Sidious took on Maul as an apprentice, where Maul trained in an acrobatic form of lightsaber combat called Teras Kasi, which is name-dropped as a clue setting up Maul's reveal in Solo.
I have never seen anyone do... What was that?
Teras Kasi. Dryden taught me.
Sidious took Maul to the planet of Malachor, a battleground from an ancient Jedi-Sith war. Sidious forced Maul to breathe in the ashes of past Sith warriors from that battle, and Maul experienced a vision of each of these Sith's deaths. That traumatic trip left him with a rage and a strong desire for revenge against the Jedi Order, and that's the revenge Maul was talking about. So then later, when the time was right, Sidious inserted himself into the Trade Federation drama, sparking a war between the Separatists and the Republic that he could exploit under his alter ego, Senator Sheev Palpatine of Naboo, so that he could one day rename himself the Senate.
I am the Senate.
Maul finally revealed the Sith to the Jedi on Tatooine in an attack on Qui-Gon Jinn, nearly flattening Annie, and then later in that film he gets a rematch against Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan on Naboo. He kills Qui-Gon, but he gets severed in half by Obi-Wan and falls down the reactor shaft. As Maul fell, he used his rage and his will to survive to grasp an air vent. He slid down into a trash container and was taken to a junkyard world where he lived in the bowels of the planet and built these spider legs so that, he could scream at more trash heaps. Maul was found by his brother Savage. Savage took Maul back to Dathomir, where Talzin used a Night Sister magic to restore his sanity and give him new bipedal robotic legs. From here, the brothers joined forces to seek vengeance against all their enemies. At the top of that list, hello there, Obi-Wan Kenobi. They clashed with Obi-Wan twice. The Death Watch joined Maul and Savage in a plot to take back Mandalore from the current neutral leaders and restore Mandalore to its ancestral warrior values. This grew into an alliance of crime gangs called the Shadow Collective, and they successfully sacked the Mandalorian throne, but Maul challenged Pre Vizsla to a trial by combat and defeated him, using the Darksaber to execute him. Death Watch member Bo-Katan defected from Maul at this point, and then Maul used the previous Mandalorian leader Duchess Satine, an old flame of Obi-Wan, to lure in Kenobi, and then he killed Satine in front of him. But then Sidious arrived and fought Savage and Maul. Savage died, and Maul gets tortured and taken away by Sidious for some other plans. We never got to see Clone Wars continue on with that story, because it got canceled. But the storyline was continued in the Son of Dathomir comics. Here we find out that Maul was imprisoned and tortured by Sidious and Dooku, but Maul was able to escape with the help of his Death Watch loyalists, but that's exactly what Sidious and Dooku wanted, because Maul led them to his mother Talzin. There's a big battle, and it ends with Talzin holding off Sidious so Maul could escape. Grievous killed her, and Maul retreated back to Mandalore with the Darksaber back in charge of the planet. Really, kind of nothing changed, other than Maul's just angrier. And this is where later this season of Clone Wars will pick up. Look folks, keeping up with this content is tough, because now we have to get it all from subscription services. I don't know about you, but rather than stay subscribed to like 10 things all the time, I like to only pay for the content I'm actually consuming. Now the trick is managing the credit card numbers that you give them to turn on and off when you need them to. Well, thanks to privacy.com for sponsoring this video. Privacy lets you make online purchases using virtual burner cards for each kind of purchase instead of your real card for everything. This protects your identity and bank information on the internet and lets you control the limits on each virtual card. So for example, I've set up an account with Privacy privacy, I've linked my bank account and created a card specifically for my monthly Netflix subscription payment. Privacy will ding you with lightning fast precision if someone tries to charge a card twice or if the charge exceeds the amount you set up for it. Nice try, Netflix. I finished Cheer last month, and you will get access to my card again when Stranger Things comes back. See, no vendor can overcharge beyond the limit you've set. It's simple, it's fast, it's really just one click. They also offer these different plans. There's a free one that lets you create up to 12 cards a month, a pro plan where you can get 36 cards a month and 1% cash back on purchases, and then a Teams plan for small businesses. There's also a privacy Chrome extension where you can fill out all of your card info to save time. Just one click and all your details are instantly entered. Head to privacy.com/newrockstars and sign up for an account. And as a special treat for my viewers, new customers will automatically get $5 to spend on your first purchase for a limited time only. Yep, that's free money. Just go to privacy.com/newrockstars and sign up now. Okay, back to Maul this season of Clone Wars. We know from Ahsoka Tano's book that Maul and Ahsoka dueled during the Siege of Mandalore. This season will show said duel. The Siege of Mandalore will be led by Ahsoka, combined forces with Bo-Katan and Clone Commander Rex. But during the siege, Sidious's Order 66 will go out. All the clone troopers have these chips implanted in their brains that causes them to turn on their Jedi friends, but only Rex will disable that chip and help Ahsoka escape. But when it comes to Maul, we don't know exactly how he responds to Order 66. It's possible that those chips were programmed to target Maul too, so like Sidious could clean house against anyone who would know about his conspiracy. But really, we find ourselves in an unknown gap of Maul's history. Now, we know later on he ends up retreating to Dathomir and heads up the new criminal enterprise called the Crimson Dawn. That's one with Erik Voss, no relation, and Kira from the Solo film. I'll come back to this, but after all these events in Star Wars Rebels, we actually learn about the final years of Maul's life. He returns to Malachor in search of a Sith holocron that he can use to bring an end to the Sith. Maul and Ahsoka have a rematch. Maul blinds Kanan Jarrus, and he escapes Malachor. He later shows back up to combine Sith holocron with a Jedi holocron, and when he does so, he gains his cosmic wisdom, and he hears the words, "He lives." He later interprets those words to realize that Obi-Wan Kenobi is still alive, living in exile on Tatooine. So Maul tracks down an elderly Ben Kenobi and realizes that Kenobi is there to protect a child, of course, Luke. They fight, but Kenobi defeats him very quickly in 3 strokes. And feeling some feels here, lying in Kenobi's arms, Maul asks Kenobi if the boy was indeed the chosen one who can end the Sith. Kenobi tells him yes, and Maul dies, finally at peace. Until the Rise of Skywalker revealed that the Sith actually survived everything Luke did, but shh, don't tell him all that. The mystery remains this gap period between Maul's time on Mandalore to his time running the Crimson Dawn in Solo. What is the Crimson Dawn exactly? Like, it's a gang, but what kind? Is it just remnants of his network of the Shadow Collective loyalists? Whatever it is, it must be short-lived, right? There's no mention of it once Maul shows up in Rebels, a few years before A New Hope stranded on Malachor. Well, perhaps this Clone Wars season will set up the still upcoming Kenobi series. Yes, last we heard Kenobi was going through some script revisions. Some reports it was canceled, some other reports denying it. But the little we know about it is that Kenobi will be set 8 years after Order 66 and 11 years before A New Hope, meaning it will be set 1 year before we saw Maul in Solo. So just imagine how dark and turbulent up this Crimson Dawn Maul cult must have been to rise this quickly and then collapse into obscurity. I like to compare Maul's history to Breaking Bad. The Clone Wars is kind of like season 1 through 4 of Breaking Bad. The rise of a crime empire led by a broken and betrayed man. And then Maul and Rebels is kind of like the second half of the final season of Breaking Bad. An isolated psychopath obsessively scrambling in his final days. Therefore, I believe that this dark age of Maul, the Crimson Dawn years, will be my favorite stretch of Breaking Bad, the first half of the final season, where we get to see the corrupt protagonist at the peak of his power, but committing his darkest sins to try to maintain that power. So what dirtbike kids will Maul dissolve in a bucket? What prisoners will Maul have killed by Nazis? Will we get to see Maul growl to Kira, "I am the one who knocks"? Well, comment down below with your Maul theories, and keep an eye out for my breakdown of the details you missed in the Clone Wars season premiere. It's gonna come later this weekend. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EA Voss, follow New Rockstars, and subscribe to New Rockstars here on YouTube for breakdowns of everything you love. Thanks for watching, bye.